Every day begins with a need to move with purpose, to shop without stress, to send without fear, to pay without delay. For every rider chasing time, for every home that needs restocking, for every voice that needs connection, for every dream that needs delivery. Now, one app brings it all together.
Supercab, move smart, ride safe, supermarket, groceries, gadgets, everything. Supercash, airtime, bills, transfers, done. Super logistics, fast, secure, right to your door.
It's more than an app. It's your movement, your market, your money, your connection, all in one place. Supergo, one app, for services, endless. Download Supergo today. Live free, live fast, live smart.
No time to shop, no stress. With Supergo, your groceries comes to you. We partner with trusted vendors, verified stores, no delay, no excuses, just values. Supergo Supermarket, your market now in your hands. With Supergo, your ride is comfortable, easy and convenient. Supergo is more than an app. It's a movement, moving people, powering threats, delivering value.
Good day and welcome to Sun TV Business Daily. I am Jennifer Obadaya, and today we bring you the latest development making headlines across Nigeria's economy, markets and business world. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has revoked the operating license of ASO Savings and Loan PLC and Union Homes Savings and Loan PLC due to persistent regulatory infrastructures and deteriorating financial conditions. The CBN cited the institution's failure to meet key regulatory requirements, including minimum paid-up share capital and insufficient assets to cover liabilities. The revocation means the institution can no longer carry out banking or mortgage-related activities in Nigeria. Depositors and stakeholders are expected to await further directives from the CBN and the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, on the resolution progress. The CBN emphasized its commitment to ensuring financial system stability. ASO Savings and Union Home have faced operational challenges, including liquidity constraints and Nigerian X compliance issues, leading to their delisting from the Nigerian X in 2024. Nigeria's ICT sector has emerged as a market bright spot in 2025, with technology stock on the Nigerian exchange recording gains as high as 993%. The combined market capitalization of performing ICT stocks jumped 58% year-on-year to 18.61 trillion naira in November 2025, driven by share price appreciation and growing investor confidence. MTN Nigeria lead the pack with a market capitalization of approximately at 9.8 trillion naira, followed by Airtel Africa with 8.5 trillion naira. Other notable performers include eTranzact, CWG, Chems Holdings, NCR, and Omatech, with market values ranging from 3.4 billion naira to 132.9 billion naira. Experts attribute the sector's growth to stable macroeconomic factors, increasing relevance in key industries like financial service, and higher tariffs boosting profitability. The The ICT sector's strong performance has positioned it as a major force on the exchange, shaping movements in the broader all-share index. Nigeria's headline inflation rate eased to 14.45% in November 2025, down from 16.05% in October 2025, beating President Bola Tinubu's 15% target. The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, attributed the deadline to easing price pressure across the economy. Urban inflation was 13.61%, while rural inflation stood at 15.15%. Food inflation dropped to 11.08%, with increases in price of items like dried tomatoes and eggs. Core inflation, including volatile products, was 18.04% year-on-year. The government had aimed to reduce inflation from 34.6% to 15% by end of 2025. Experts had expressed doubts about achieving this target, but the latest figures show progress. The National Pension Commission, PENCOM, has commenced the disbursement of 758 billion naira pension bond approved by President Bola Tinubu to clear outstanding pension liabilities owed to retirees. The Director General of PENCOM, Mrs. Omolola Oloworanran, disclosed this at the Pension Revolution Summit in Abuja, highlighting the Commission's efforts to rebuild trust and strengthen governance. Pension assets in Nigeria have grown to 27 trillion naira, with over 600 billion naira disbursed to settle arrears. PENCOM has introduced Pension Post 1.0, adding 2.368 billion to monthly pension payments, and achieve full automation of critical pension processes. The Commission has also expanded digital enrollment, introduced accredited pension agents, and recovered 32.27 billion naira from defaulting employers. Only 8 out of 36 states have complied with the contributory pension scheme, and PENCOM is working with states to ensure full compliance. Nigeria's crude oil exports have generated 37.7 trillion naira in the first 9 months of 2025, with stable quarterly earnings of 12.96 trillion naira in Q1, 11.97 trillion naira in Q2, and 12.81 trillion naira in Q3. The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, attributes this to relatively stable oil export performance despite global market volatility. Crude oil export earnings have risen steadily over 5 years, from 9.44 trillion naira in 2020 to 29.00 trillion naira in 2023, peaking at 55.29 trillion in 2024. However, profit declined by 824.66 billion naira to 1.08 trillion naira in 2024 due to structural costs and efficiency challenges. Non-oil exports surged 48% year-on-year to 9.2 trillion naira, but oil and gas still dominate Nigeria's export earnings, accounting for 86 to 88% of monthly exports. This highlights Nigeria's continued dependence on crude oil as its key foreign exchange source. Microsoft and the federal government have trained over 4 million Nigerians in digital skills since 2021, with 350,000 participating in specialized student programs and 43,000 receiving global certification. The partnership aims to equip Nigerians with AI skills, with plans to train an additional 350,000 under Microsoft's National Skill Initiative. Nigeria's AI adoption rate stands at 8.7%, slightly below the sub-Saharan average. Microsoft is focusing on skills development, infrastructure, and innovation to drive AI adoption and maximize its potential across the economy. The partnership has also trained 99 public sector leaders from 58 agencies with a focus on governance, ethics, and risk management to enable credit, access, and improve sectors like agriculture. The Nigerian exchange, NGX, closed 0.01% higher, with the all-share index, ASI, at 149,459.11 points and market capitalization at 95.28 trillion naira. Access Corp lead trading volume and value with 385.83 million shares exchanged, valued at 7.72 billion naira. Banking and consumer stocks drove turnover, with Sterling Financial Holdings, FCMB Group, and First Holdco attracting strong institutional interest. Aluminium extrusion industry surged 10% to 9.35 naira, while Guinness Nigeria rallied 9.98% to 263.40 naira. The NGX Insurance Index rose 0.36%, and the Consumer Goods Index advanced 0.21%. Market sentiment remains cautiously optimistic, with investors rotating into high-volume stocks. Lagrade, a Lagos state government-backed e-hailing platform, has secured a $100 million financing facility from United Bank of Africa, UBA, to expand its Drive to Own program. The funding would support 3,500 drivers in transitioning from daily rental arrangements to asset ownership and small business operations. Lagrade's chairman, Chief Diana Chen, stated that the program aims to move drivers up the economic value chain, enabling them to become business owners, fleet partners, and mobility investors. The partnership reflects growing interest from financial institutions in structured mobility platforms. The Drive to Own program is designed to reduce default risks and increase bank financing for individual drivers, promoting economic growth and urban mobility financing. Nigeria's inflation rate eased to 14.45% in November 2025, marking the 8th consecutive month of disinflation. This shift has significantly implications for financial markets, improving real returns and reshaping investors' preferences. The fixed income market benefits from easing inflation, with Nigerian Treasury bills offering positive real returns of 2.7 to 2.9%. Government securities become more attractive, raising the benchmark for equities and prompting investors to resist risks. Equities faced a higher performance benchmark, favoring stocks with strong cash flows, sustainable dividends, and balance sheet strength. Financial stocks such as banks and insurance companies are well positioned, with higher yields supporting earnings and stable asset quality. The Nigerian Customs Service has arrested an Austrian national, Mr. Khalaf Onal, at Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, for attempting to smuggle undeclared foreign currency worth 2.28 billion naira. The suspect was intercepted while boarding an Emirates Airline flight to Dubai with 651,505 euros and $800,575. concealed in his luggage. The seizure was made under existing laws, including the Foreign Exchange, Monitoring and Miscellaneous Provision Act 1995 and the Money Laundering, Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. The Custom Area Controller, Controller Chidi Nokore, warned travelers to declare foreign currencies above $10,000 or its equivalent to avoid persecution and forfeiture. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has taken over the investigation with Assistant Commander Richard Adejumo, commending the Customs Service for effective interagency collaboration. Transcorp Hotels PLC has appointed Dr. Awele Olumelu as chair of its board of directors effective January 1st, 2026. Dr. Olumelu brings extensive leadership experience in healthcare, insurance, corporate governance, and philanthropy, and currently chairs Avon Healthcare Limited and Heirs Insurance Brokers. Her appointment follows the retirement of Mr. Emmanuel N. Norom and is part of the Transcorp's effort to strengthen board leadership with aligned governance with its growth strategy. Dr. Elumelu's strategy insight is expected to drive innovation, wellness integration, and responsible business practice in Transcorp Hotels. Dr. Olumelu is a trustee and co-founder of the Tony Olumelu Foundation, which has empowered over 24,000 young African entrepreneurs through seed capital, training, and mentorship. Aliko Dangote has petitioned the Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offense Commission, ICPC, against Farouk Ahmad, CEO of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, alleging corruption and economic sabotage. Dangote claims Ahmed spent around $5 million on overseas education for his children, inconsistent with a public official's income. The ICPC has confirmed receipts of the petition and will investigate. Dangote's lawyer, Innocent Ado, stated that evidence of misconduct, including excessive school fees, has been submitted and prosecution would follow if wrongdoing is found. The dispute stems from Dangote's accusations that NMDPRA issued reckless important license, undermining domestic production and favoring imports despite sufficient local refining capacity. Nigeria has approximately 15.2 million structurally inadequate housing units. According to the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, the assessment used internationally recognized methodologies, including the Household Crowding Index and Adequate Housing Index, applying data from the NPC, NBS, CBN, and other housing institutions. The housing challenge is both quantitative and qualitative, with solutions focusing on upgrading existing housing, regenerating neighborhoods, and improving infrastructure and service. Kano recorded the highest level of housing inadequacy, while Bayelsa recorded the lowest. The federal government plans to establish a national housing data center to support policy formulation, investment decisions, and large-scale housing delivery, aiming to improve planning accuracy and market accountability. Cadbury Nigeria PLC has announced the resignation of Mr. Sunil Patasarati as a director effective December 16, 2025, after over 7 years of service. The board has accepted his resignation and expressed appreciation for his contributions. Patasarati's replacement will be announced in due course. The company's board structure remains balanced, with Adedotun Suleiman as chair and Oyeyimika Adeboye as Managing Director. Cadbury Nigeria recently recorded a strong financial rebound in Q2 2025, posting a pre-tax profit of 5.9 billion naira and revenue growth driven by domestic sales. Airtel Africa has partnered with SpaceX to launch Starlink direct-to-cell satellite connectivity in 14 African countries, including Nigeria. The service will enable customers to connect directly to Starlink satellites, expanding mobile network access in underserved areas. The partnership aims to complement existing terrestrial networks, supporting high-speed broadband access and essential service. Starlink's direct-to-cell technology is expected to launch in 2026, initially supporting text messaging and data service. Airtel Africa becomes the first mobile network operator in Africa to deploy Starlink direct-to-cell service, leveraging a constellation of 650 satellites for improved connectivity. First Bank has partnered with the Climate Governance Initiative Nigeria and the Financial Reporting Council to advance climate reporting standards and embed sustainability into governance structures. The bank has voluntarily adopted IFRS S1 and S2 standards, strengthening board-level oversight through its Board Risk Management Committee. The partnership aims to drive capacity building through initiatives like the Climate Mainstreaming Program and First Academy Training, positioning First Bank as a benchmark for sustainability leadership in Nigeria's financial sector. The bank's directors are championing this course, reinforcing its commitment to sustainability. First Bank's proactive stance sets a benchmark for the financial service industry, demonstrating that responsible finance is the cornerstone of future growth. CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso has assured international investors of Nigeria's commitment to macroeconomic stability, citing economic reforms aimed at restoring investor confidence. The reforms focus on rules-based economic management, transparent markets, and predictable policies. Cardoso highlighted recent changes in the foreign exchange markets, adoption of orthodox monetary policy, and banking sector reforms as efforts to stabilize the economy and enable private sector lead growth. The CBN is working to rein in inflation, stabilize the naira, and improve capital inflows. Nigeria is competing with other emerging markets for foreign investment amidst global financial uncertainty and domestic pressures. Investors are seeking clarity, credible reforms, and policy consistency, which Nigeria is working to provide. The Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offense Commission, ICPC, is investigating a petition against Farouk Ahmad, CEO of the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, filed by Aliko Dangote, chairman of Dangote's group. Dangote allegedly Ahmed spent over $7 million on his children's education in Switzerland without lawful income. The petition claims Ahmed abused his office, breaching the code of conduct for public officers, and diverted public funds for personal gain. Ahmed and NMDPRA had previously dismissed similar claims as smear campaigns. Various groups, including lawyers, students, and civil society organizations, have expressed support for Ahmed, citing his regulatory effort and integrity. Nigeria's federal government recorded a revenue shortfall of 30 trillion naira in 2025, with actual revenue of 10.7 trillion naira against a projection of 40.8 trillion naira, Minister of Finance Wale Edun disclosed. The shortfall is attributed to weak oil and gas earnings and underperformance across revenue subheads. Edun explains that despite the shortfall, the government met critical obligation through prudent treasury management, paying in salaries, statutory transfers, and debt service obligations. Capital releases to ministry stood at 5.2 trillion naira out of 7.1 trillion naira.